Hey, howdy everyone, and welcome back to the Saturn Slam review. Recapping Hell in a Cell.
2018, baby. It was better.
It was the best of shows, it was the worst of shows.
Oh, I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right into it. Time to talk about the Cell in Hell.
Yeah, so we had pre-show match of the New Day versus the Rusev Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. This was a dandy of a pre-show match. Really was better than a couple of matches on the main card. But I guess if the idea of the pre-show match is to sell the pay-per-view to people on the fence, then you want to have a good pre-show match.
Yeah. It's kind of scummy, but hey, we get this a good match. All right. I miss Aiden English wrestling. Make him wrestle more.
This is like the first match I've really seen him wrestle that I remember, at least. I probably saw him on a SmackDown once and it just didn't register. But I haven't seen him wrestle in a match in a long time, at least 2 months. And I forgot that he's actually capable. It was his tag team partner who sucked. That's why the Vaudevillains were okay.
Oh, Vaudevillains. Yeah. I think the writers forgot too. Because hopefully they'll remember now.
Yeah. This match was pretty good. They got the I guess Rusev Day really kind of got the heat on Kofi for a while. Hot tag to Big E. He ran wild a bit. Some fun the Haas fighting between Big E and Rusev. There's a point here where Rusev got taken out by Big E and Kofi was reeling, and Aiden English, not knowing what else to do, applied the accolade to Kofi Kingston. And it was at this moment in time I was like, holy shit, they're going to change the titles here. But they didn't. They wrestled more, and Rusev Day lost after a blind tag from Aiden English and some other miscommunication. Rusev was on the outside, and Aiden English ate Trouble in Paradise for the pin pretty much out of nowhere. So right after getting Rusev Day back together, they were already teasing a breakup again.
No.
Because that's your reward.
They're stronger together.
That's your reward for having a good match, is you get your tag team broken up. I mean, Rusev really should be... Yeah, Rusev should be a singles... Like, Rusev should be feuding with Nakamura for the U.S. title right now.
Oh, yes.
Because who else is Nakamura going to fucking face? Where was Shinsuke Nakamura on the show? Where has Shinsuke Nakamura been since SummerSlam? I haven't fucking seen him.
He's been nursing his dick wounds. You know what? Alright. I've already imagined the WrestleMania entrance for this fucking, for the US Championship between Rusev and Nakamura. So, like, Rusev's the champion or whatever. So Nakamura comes out first. And he does the whole, like, he has the fleets of violins and shit and, like, the choirs of people.
Right.
And he comes out, he does this awesome entrance. And everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah. And then out from, like, the choir or the backing instruments steps Aiden English, and he does his opening promo. Or, like, he cuts off the fucking symphony or whatever. And then Rusev Day makes his fucking awesome promo. And then they go on to have an awesome match. There.
Should come out on the
tag that royalty again. Check.
That led us to the main card, which, despite only having 7 matches on it, still managed a total of 3.5 hours in length.
On account of 2, not 2, but 3, 20, exactly 24-minute matches.
Yeah. The tag match was almost 25 minutes, but yeah. There were some long... Every match got time, for better or for worse.
I guess they learned from last time.
We started out with Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy in a Hell in a Cell match. I didn't expect much above this match going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised with what we got. Yeah. This was one of the more brutal cell matches in recent memory. At one point, I went to Peter and I was like, "This is like watching a snuff film. I'm rather uncomfortable."
Yeah, because you start out, with the wonderful knowledge that Jeff Hardy is just not, his back. He's an old man. He's got arthritis.
He's got
some
arthritis.
Shit. He's got to go into Hell in a Cell against Randy Hell in a Cell Orton. Randy, I don't want to do any RKOs on you, Orton.
They missed such an opportunity with that finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy Orton in like his 7th Hell in a Cell match, and Jeff Hardy in his first. The only reason this match was even in the cell was because Jeff wanted to do a cell match before he retired, and that might not be as far off as people realize.
Yeah, and boy howdy, it was a match. So it started off pretty normal,
Yeah.
Wrestling plus cage stuff.
Wrestling plus cage stuff. New blood red Hell in a Cell. I guess it's rubberized now, so it's a little less cutty.
It's heck in a cell.
It won't cut you as bad. Which, yeah, if it's safer to work with. I didn't particularly care for the red color. I thought it impaired visibility at points, but it was whatever. But yeah, Randy very quickly got the advantage and just beat on Jeff for an uncomfortably long period of time. He hit him with everything under the sun, including his own belt, which I want to point out, Randy was careful enough to hit leather side out with. Jeff Hardy was not as careful when he got the belt and just ripped up Randy Orton's back with those fucking studs.
Yeah, Randy Orton's back is fucking braille. He's going to need another tattoo to cover that one up.
Yeah, and I mean, Jeff got beat on for forever, but I think Randy Orton suffered the most damage in this match. His back was all cut up. He was missing a chunk of his thigh.
Straight fucking flesh wound. I don't even know how that one happened.
I think he got it on the table. I don't know. I didn't see where it happened either. But yeah, Jeff gets beat up for a long time. And at one point during this heat segment, the most difficult to watch thing I've ever seen in wrestling happens. So Randy's got Jeff all beat up on the ground. He goes to look for plunder. Sees a chair, doesn't want a chair. Sees table, doesn't want a table. Ladder, nah. Goes in, pulls out a toolbox, and I'm like, oh, here come the bolt cutters. They're going to open up the cage so Jeff can do his dive off the top of the cage. Not so. Randy Orton pulls out a screwdriver, and at this point I was like, I don't like where this is going.
What's happening?
And then he goes in and he gets Jeff all locked up in some sort of hold, and he takes the screwdriver, sticks it through Jeff's earlobe, and starts twisting it and mashing it around. And I don't care if having it in your earlobe that already has a hole in it doesn't hurt too bad. It looked fucking very unsettling. I could not watch what was going on. I had my phone up in my face. I was just waiting for this to be over. I watched it for like 15 seconds and felt physically ill. I took 2 steps toward my bathroom because I thought I was going to hurl.
I love it was nasty. It's looking on the brutality of Hell in a Cell. And I love my favorite comment when I was reading the comments for this match. Someone put down tags, 2 men, fishnets, full penetration, power tools. I was like, yeah, it's about how PG this is.
Yeah, and there was another one along those lines that was like tags, fishnets, abuse, and penetration or something like that.
Some crazy shit. And then the fucking the other nasty ass, like, there goes Jeff Hardy's life spot.
Yeah, so I predicted, as you may recall, that Jeff was going to do a swanton off the top of the cage. He did not do that, thankfully. Although what he did, I'm not sure was any better. So there were two ladders set up the ring. There was a normal size ladder, a taller ladder, and Jeff climbs up the normal size ladder, and he appears like he's going to do his little leapfrog the ladder spot that he's done in a bunch of different ladder matches. But then he notices, that ceiling's real close. Maybe I shouldn't do that. And I was like, okay, cooler heads prevailed. So he climbs this larger ladder, and I'm like, okay, he's going to do the swanton off of that. Still ridiculous, but maybe not as bad as doing it off the top of the cell.
But then,
wrong a second time.
This man goes full Icarus.
He fucking monkey bars along the goddamn truss of the cell, and he has Randy Orton on a table. This is another important detail.
Yes.
He begins to swing, and the time that he's spending swinging, in practicality, was to give Randy Orton time to, like, be in another fucking county. When Jeff let go, he was nowhere near this table. But I thought he was, like, going to do some sort of wacky gymnastics flip down. But no, he just let go and fell splat, like the worst fucking belly flop you've ever fucking seen, right through this goddamn table. And they really missed an opportunity, because if Randy Orton had caught him with an RKO out of that may have surpassed, like, the curb stomp reversal and the pantheon of great RKOs out of nowhere.
Right? Oh, I'm imagining all the hype that you get from an RKO combined with the hype from that flip head kick to the neck from it was Ricochet Adam Cole, right?
Yes.
Those two in beautiful marriage would have been one for the fucking history books. But Jeff Hardy dropping through the cage through a table is also one for the history books.
Yeah. He didn't land on his back, so I guess he's got that going for him. Yeah, Jeff was, the referee called for the cell to be raised, and Randy Orton went to pin him, and the ref's like, no, Randy is hurt. And he's like, yeah, the fuck he's hurt. It's Hell in a Cell. Count the pin. Do your fucking job. And eventually the ref does his fucking job. Randy Orton gets the pin and saunters off. Jeff is stretchered out, only to wrestle the very next night on an house show. Hopefully,
did they make any mention?
Yeah, hopefully after that, he's hopefully that was just a booking he had to fulfill, and now he's gonna take some time off to get right. We'll see. Then we had Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title. They had a fine match. It was a little sloppy in spots, but the work was miles better than any SmackDown Women's title match involving Carmella. Surprise, addition by subtraction. And
remember that three-way match?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No. They wrestled for a while. They exchanged holds. They exchanged cradles. It was all fine and dandy. Eventually, Charlotte went for, I want to say, a spear, and Becky turned it into a cradle and scored the surprising win. Everyone was happy about this. Charlotte tried to shake Becky's hand. Becky refused to share her spotlight. Charlotte Flair was not going to Hulk Hogan her on this day. And that apparently is the heel turn, because from what I've heard, people backstage still seem to be under the impression that Becky Lynch is the heel here.
Very wrong.
And my suspicion is that the reason Becky won the title here is so that at the historic WWE Evolution pay-per-view, Charlotte Flair can capture her record-breaking 8th women's title reign.
Oh, Jesus. You are That's too realistic. I hate that. I hate that this is a thing. It's already happened through the quantum hot potatoing of the belt. She has already won the 8th title.
This has already happened. This is known. I am from the future. Diversify your bonds.
Oh, fuck me. All right. Well, let's enjoy Becky Lynch while we have it.
Yeah. I mean, she's got till the end of October, so you'll have a month, which will be slightly longer than her first title or slightly shorter than her first title reign. Which, as we all remember, was ended by Alexa Bliss in that tables match at TLC 2016, which thus began Alexa Bliss's reign of terror across both Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, Alexa Bliss.
On happier note, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre wrestled the Shield in a fucking great match. Best match on the show by far. If you like moves, boy howdy, were there a lot of moves in this match.
I like moves,
but
I like good, clean wrestling.
It wasn't it wasn't like an indie match where it was moves for the sake of moves. Like, everything had time to land and sink in, and like
soak
enough. It was an appropriate amount of moves for the amount of time they had to work the match. And they had a lot of time. Like we said, this went almost 25 minutes. Lots of back and forth action. They got the heat on Seth, and it took a while, but he finally got the hot tag to Dean, who ran wild for a while. So many memorable spots. There was a point where Seth did a dive onto Ziggler and McIntyre on the outside, who caught him and were preparing to deliver yet another sort of move, but they were thwarted by a second dive by Dean Ambrose. No one expects the second dive.
I have 6 abs. I have 2 guys.
They superplex and the Falcon Arrow Seth tags himself in, and Dean and Drew do whatever on the outside. Seth picks Dolph up for the superplex into the Falcon Arrow combo. He hits the superplex, hoists him up for the Falcon Arrow, and then out of nowhere, Drew McIntyre runs in, hits the Claymore kick, and Ziggler just happens to land on top of Rollins for the 3 count. Now, I've seen this finish done before, but what I've never seen before is like the commitment to the sell job that Dolph Ziggler had for being dead, to the point where, in what was a hilarious visual that I hope is sidebar material for a long time, Drew McIntyre is carrying an unconscious, lifeless Dolph Ziggler out on his shoulders with both titles. In case there was any doubt who the real star of this team was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is good. Keep doing matches like this, Ziggler. I feel like Ziggler, he goes up and down, he goes up and down. He can have his rough patches. I really hope he can ride this.
Yeah, he's motivated now. He's in a good program. He's in a good spot. And he better be hoping that he can keep his wagon hitched to Drew McIntyre for as long as he can. Because once they split, it's going to be back down the card with Mr. Ziggler. He honestly should just retire after they break up. It's never going to get this good again for him. That led to AJ Styles and Samoa Joe in what was a perfectly acceptable WWE Championship match. If not unspectacular. They wrestled. They hit moves. Samoa Joe teased the Muscle Buster. He's got to fucking win that match in Australia with this goddamn Muscle Buster, because that's twice now that they've teased it and not delivered.
Blue ball on us.
This time the announcers even called it out.
They're getting closer. Maybe it'll be ready for development, for deployment.
By the Royal Rumble, we should see a Muscle
Buster. Release date's been delayed.
So they had a match. It was, I don't think, as good as their match at SummerSlam. The finish was Samoa Joe locked in the coquina clutch, and AJ Styles rolled over, and he had his feet on the ground, pinning Samoa Joe. The ref counts 1, the ref counts 2, the ref counts 3, and they play AJ Styles music, but Samoa Joe pops up like he's won the championship, and he doesn't realize, despite they're not playing his music, he doesn't realize that he hasn't won until they announce "and still," and then he freaks out, claiming that he tapped, telling anyone who would listen, and on replay they show it from another camera angle, and in fact, in between the counts of 2 and 3, AJ Styles tapped out to Samoa Joe, so Samoa Joe is your rightful WWE champion, and this finish is going to lead to a no count-out, no disqualification match in Australia for the title, but there were no countouts or disqualifications involved in this finish, so the exact same fucking thing can happen in Australia. It's the same issue that Nakamura and Styles had, where none of the finishes of the matches built to the next stipulation.
It's like Samoa Joe and Styles, or Nakamura and Styles, or Styles and Styles. I hate AJ Styles. He ruined AJ Styles.
Fucking, like, it's almost to the point where I don't care about AJ. Here's a stat for you. 5 times on pay-per-view this year, there has been a fuck finish in an AJ Styles WWE Championship match. It's to the point now where I don't really look forward to AJ Styles matches on pay-per-view. Do you know how hard it is to get someone to a point where they don't want to watch AJ Styles wrestle?
You're breaking a man. But whatever the case.
Here's like, I don't fucking this isn't hard. Like, AJ Styles Samoa Joe wrestle at SummerSlam. Match ends in a DQ. Logically, the next match should have no disqualifications. If only there were a stipulation that has no countouts or disqualifications that had a pay-per-view named after it. You could have put these guys in.
No, but they had to put Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in, and they had to let Samoa Joe read a fucking bedtime story to AJ Styles.
Yeah, that was... He pulled it off, but never have a guy do that again, WWE. Yeah, so we'll see. Like, Joe... I think it's now, like, this was now or never. I don't think Joe's going to win the title. Now, I mean, if he does in Australia and they prove me wrong, so be it. But, like, what would the harm be in having Samoa Joe beat AJ Styles here? You switch the title, you get Joe his reign, you break up the monotony of the Styles reign. There's an impetus for a rematch, and you can go to Australia and give them a world title change on that Australian Super Show. And, you know, it gives something nice for those fans. Everyone's happy. Everyone wins in that situation. But no. They have to make it difficult. Difficult, like watching The Miz and Maurice versus Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella.
Yeah.
This match should have been on the pre-show. It was significantly worse than the New Day versus Rusev Day. When Daniel Bryan and Miz were in the ring, the work was fine. When Brie Bella and Maurice were in the ring, oh God, it was bad. And I'm a little fearful that as part of this continuing feud, they're going to do Brie Bella versus Maurice in a singles match at Evolution, which hopefully logic prevails, because that would be the wrong message to send about how far you've come with women's wrestling.
These don't mix. Yeah, I mean, what you said at the beginning resonated with me. Imagine, speaking of things you have to imagine you never be hearing or saying, a match involving Daniel Bryan should have been on the pre-show.
Yeah. It was shocking. Daniel Bryan gave Brie Bella the hot tag, and credit where credit's due, Brie Bella did not look as awful as she usually does. Maurice, however, looked a million times worse than I remember her being, and I never remembered her being that good.
hot tags turned cold real quick.
Yeah, so Brie got the hot tag. She went to go beat up Maurice, but Miz intervened. So she beat up Miz instead, and she slid in a pretty cool spot, actually. Slid between his legs to give a baseball slide drop kick to Maurice on the outside. They did some more wrestling stuff, and the finish was a clusterfuck that I'm still trying to piece together. What I think happened was that Brie Bella was supposed to be distracted by the Miz and Daniel Bryan on the outside. She did not sell this distraction.
Mm-hmm.
She and Maurice did a roll into a roll up, and then Maurice reversed sort of the roll up into one of her own and got the pin over Brie Bella for the Miz and Maurice to win. So I guess Daniel Bryan has to win. Absolutely has to win that number one contenders match in Australia. If he doesn't, dude should have left when he had the chance. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my gosh, screwing him over. The finish. The thing that comes to mind when I'm trying to recall this finish is like the Scott Steiner match. Wasn't that the one where he tries to like jump in the ring, or it was like in CZW or something, or Impact, whichever one had the hexagon ring.
That would Impact, yeah.
And they were gonna go for the tap out, and the guy, he had to like not outrace the ref.
Oh, right, with James Storm and Earl Hebner.
Yeah.
Where James Storm had to pretend he was slower than Earl Hebner.
Earl fucking Hebner. That's what this reminded me of.
Yeah, the Brian and Vinny show does not have as many great moments of pure rage as it used to. But they were not a fan of this finish. Although they liked this match, and so did Dave Meltzer like this match. Apparently, we're in the minority for hating this match.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer gave this like surprisingly high marks.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess he's been in a good mood lately. A lot of matches have been getting more stars than they're out of.
Good for him.
Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns ended in a no contest.
Ronda and Alexa?
Oh, right. Yeah. See, I forgot this match happened because it was that boring. Ronda Rousey wrestled Alexa Bliss. Ronda Rousey sold for far too long and then beat her with an armbar in 90 seconds after a 12-minute match. Why they didn't just do the last 90 seconds in the first place and not waste 11 minutes of my time, I don't know.
Well, yes, that's the match. Let's talk about the main motherfucking event.
Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman ended in a no contest. I'll repeat that. The Hell in a Cell match between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship ended in a no contest. What? What the fuck?
They're like, Roman can't win, but Braun also can't win. It's like when you're trying to violate causality, or like when you open up Schrodinger's box, the waveform collapses into a no contest.
In the first ever Hell in a Cell match, Undertaker wrestled Shawn Michaels. It's still probably the best Hell in a Cell match that's ever been. The story was excellent, the work was excellent, no surprise. And at the end of the match, Kane debuted, ripped the door off its hinges, tombstoned the Undertaker, and you know what happened? The ref let the match continue, and Shawn Michaels pinned the Undertaker. He didn't wave it off as a no contest, because both men were down, bleeding all over the place. Because it's a Hell in a Cell match, and there must be a winner.
Oh, Mick Foley, what the fuck were you doing?
Mick Foley looked great.
He was
moved
good.
better than I've seen him move in over 20 years. And, he had a mistake. At one point, there was a near fall where Roman Reigns was supposed to kick out. I don't know if Mick Foley counted fast or Roman forgot or some combination of the two. But Braun Strowman very clearly on national television pinned Roman Reigns in the center of the ring.
Yep. I'm not going to let that one down.
Nope.
Yeah, so was there, I don't know what was like special about the inside, what was going on inside the ring, other than I guess there was a table, right?
They had a lesser version of every match they've ever had. Bunch of Superman punches, bunch of no selling by Braun being scary, Roman being surprised that Braun's strong. And they did this for about 10-ish minutes. Roman Reigns speared Braun Strowman through a table, and Braun kicked out of the pin attempt, mind you. That's important to remember when you take into the fact that these two lied there dead for 8 fucking minutes. Dolph and Drew ran down to try to interfere. The Shield came out to even the odds, and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins played their 2014 Hell in a Cell Greatest Hits album.
Oh, yeah, as Roman and Braun just paused their match, they're like, there was an intermission in this fucking match.
They laid there motionless for, again, about 8 minutes while the tag team match from earlier resumed, and they worked another 8 or 10 minutes. They went up to the top of the cell. They did some spots on top of the cell. Dean Ambrose, I don't know if he has any more faith in the integrity of the cell, but he went up there with his kendo stick again and started waylaying everyone. Dolph and Seth did the double bump for the announce tables, also from Dean and Seth's Hell in a Cell match in 2014. And then after this bump happens, Brock Lesnar's music played. And my reaction was a resounding, what?
I forgot. Oh, how could I forget that fucking Brock decided? We were talking about it as like in like the way, Sam, where you talk about Voldemort, where you're just like, he can't come. He can't be coming. It's in the cards, but he can't. No.
Brock and Paul walk down to the ring. Paul Heyman yells at the referee to open the fucking door. The referee refuses. He also maced Mick Foley for some reason. I don't know why. There's no disqualifications in a Hell in a Cell match. But apparently there's also no contests. I didn't think that was a thing going into this. So maybe the rules changed and I wasn't updated. Brock kicks in the door, uses the door as a ramp into the ring, which was kind of cool. Whacks him with the tables, with the broken half of the table. Picks Braun Strowman up, delivers a rather weak-looking F5. Picks Roman Reigns up, delivers an F5 on top of Braun Strowman. Now, you could have just had him land on top of Strowman, the new ref come down and count 3, and that would have been fine. Roman would have gotten the win, but Braun wouldn't have been made to look weak. Everything would have been fine, and you wouldn't have had to do a fucking no contest and a goddamn Hell in a Cell match. But no. Ref comes down, waves the match off. What the fuck?
So now, of course, we get to see the Roman Reigns Braun Strowman Hell in Australia match.
The lost in all this is that Braun Strowman becomes the 4th ever man to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and fail. He joined such luminaries as John Cena, Damian Sandow, and Baron Corbin.
The Constable. Oh.
So the reason Brock was here was to set up a triple threat match between Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman at the Saudi Arabia show, which they were calling Crown Jewel, in November. I guess the Saudis threw enough money at Brock Lesnar that he agreed to work one more professional wrestling match.
They tend to do that.
They
pulled Undertaker out of retirement.
If they fucking might pull Shawn Michaels out of retirement. Also rumored for that show is Undertaker and Kane versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Why have new wrestlers?
I mean, the fucking money must be extra green over there. All right.
It's extra black, if you know.
Let's
because of the oil.
the oil. We got it. Let's run
I
through
didn't
star
want them to get
ratings,
screwed.
and we'll be out of here.
All right.
New Day versus Rusev Day. I would say that's a solid 2 3/4 star effort there.
Yeah, I'll give it 3. I enjoyed it.
Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. I'll give that 3 3/4.
3.5.
Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Solid 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus The Shield. I gave that 4 1/4.
I'm gonna give that 3.5.
AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. I gave 3.
I'll give that 3.
Miz and Maurice versus Brian and Bella. I gave that 1.5, I guess.
Yeah, 1.5 sounds good.
I was going to say quarter, but that's maybe a little mean. Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. I gave 1.5.
I'll give it a half. Just cause nothing happened. That's all.
Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. The Hell in a Cell no contest. Fucking, I don't know what the hell just happened. 2 3/4.
I'll give the ending a -2. I'll give the rest of the match 2.
Like, I don't know. Like, the match itself, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, was probably the worst match I've seen those two have together. But then you had all that stuff going on outside the cell, which was pretty good. And then you had Brock Lesnar show up, and the whole thing went to fucking hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. It's like trying to fucking disguise rotten meat with, or like slightly bad meat with like heavy Mexican spices or whatever. You're just like, it's tacos. But then halfway into the burrito, you find a worm. And you're like, oh, fuck, this was shitty the whole time.
All right, so that was Hell in a Cell. I know I sound rather negative on it, but overall, I think this was probably one of the better shows the WWE's put on thus far this year.
Yes. And we say negative just because they can get close, but I think this year was sort of a wash.
It has not been a great year. There's still time for it to improve, but with I would say with only 2 pay-per-views left, but they have like 1 million shows coming up in the next, 3 months here. So maybe if they're all really good, who knows?
Yeah. Otherwise, we might be focusing more on 205 Live now. It's on Wednesdays finally. I heard Cedric Alexander and Gulak had a good match.
That seems about right. All right. Well, we're out of here. We'll see you next time.
Wait, what?